G'day mates and welcome to week 9 of the Sunday Night Skippy Racing League. We are coming to you live from virtual Phillip Island, Australia, which is just a short 40-hour drive south of Darwin through Whoop Whoop. And it is here that we will watch the drivers of the Sunday Night Skippy Racing League take to the 2 3/4 mile Phillip Island circuit. So grab a coldie, slip on some thongs, and settle down for some racing down under. We are proud to broadcast tonight's race in partnership with Barefoot Racing over the airwaves of CavOK Racing Network's YouTube and Twitch platforms. Just search for CavOK Racing, that's CAVOK. As always, feel free to join in the conversation with your comments and questions on either platform, and we'll be monitoring them and getting to you as time permits. Tonight's race is brought to you by Sweetums. If you can't beat 'em, Sweetums. And Duff Beer. Can't get enough of that wonderful Duff. Oh yeah! Joining me in the booth tonight from Barefoot Racing is Max. How you doing tonight?
Good. I'm very excited. Yeah, land down under.
Absolutely.
We have a lot of drivers. Yeah, I'm just overall very excited for this track. It looks like a good one. Lefts and rights and ups and downs, kind of.
Got a little bit of it all.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a good race.
Awesome. Well, and still, I believe, out of racing commission, but never out of commission in our hearts, Ian is with us tonight. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, mate. I'm doing well. I took a page out of your book, yours and Megan's book, and I've got a rather nice bottle of Louis Vieira 2017 sitting here, a reserve of red wine to keep me company along with you guys as we broadcast from Phillip Island.
Well, that sounds just wonderful. I kind of wish I had gotten something myself, like a nice Malbec, just to put myself in the mood, but unfortunately none of that for me tonight. So you'll have to let us know, though. I expect a full review once the bottle is done.
We'll see.
Well, like we said, we're got a fast racetrack tonight, and we raced this one just last season, and it created some pretty good draft pack racing and some really exciting racing throughout the race, but also the finish. And I know it's one that I've been looking forward to since we were there last. And I know that people have been having fun in the public races throughout the week. A little bit of shenanigans here and there, but I don't know. What do you guys expect to see tonight?
I'm hoping for some action and a clean race, I guess.
Well, I mean, we always hope for a clean race, but Phillip Island, it has some interesting corners where you're going to get a little bit of high-speed, off-camber sort of stuff. I think we're going to see a fair few people losing it a little bit. There's some great opportunities for overtaking here, and some really good opportunities for some very, very close racing. Going into Q1, T1, I should say, Doohan corner. That's a sort of a very high-speed right that's quickly followed by the Southern Loop, T2, which is really a double apex left-hander. And at both of those, there's a lot of camber change that's not really obvious, but you're going to see people moving around a lot. And I think those are going to be two places to really watch, especially as they come after that long Gardner Straight. So I think it's going to be a really, really exciting race.
Yeah, and we do have quite a field tonight. Currently sitting at 42 drivers. The cap for the league is 45, so we're right there. Trying to see what's happening with Christian here. He said if we wanted to see one little jump. And so we'll see what that's all about. It looks like both he and I believe them. Oh no, it's not Edwin. Who is that behind him?
Behind Christian is Darwin Romero. And yes!
Oh!
Woohoo! They both made There you go.
Well done indeed to Christian and Darwin. That was fantastic. Oh man. Always good to have a little fun, work off the jitters before the race. And we, of course, Christian missed last week at the Green Hell. I don't know if I'd say he missed it, but he was definitely not there, and it'll be good to see him and Edwin back. And we'll see if anybody's got anything for him this week. I know there's been a lot of the practices were well attended, and there was, I wouldn't say surprising, but there's a lot of drivers in the league that made a lot of progress throughout the week at this particular circuit, and I'm hoping that that translates into the race tonight.
So I hope so. I mean, of course, the other thing about this track is it's a really great track for drafting. So I think you're going to see the teams really coming to the fore on this one, where they start pulling the draft.
Well, let's see here. I apologize. I'm trying to get here. We still got a few minutes left in practice, although it does look like I'm not showing. Everybody's just in the pits. We must be doing the team meeting here.
Yeah, James is talking to them. So while he's talking to them, let's have a quick talk about the practice that they went through. Carl Dronke actually got P1 in the practice, putting down a lap time of 1 minute. Is he P1? Hang on, I'm just double guessing myself at the moment. Sorry about that. But Carl's looking particularly swift. He's done 22 laps in practice, so he's got some good practice in there. Who else has done a lot of laps? Max Diagiacomo. Is that how you say it? I don't know if I said it right or not. He did 22 laps. Who else has done a lot? Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. They've really put down a lot of laps of practice.
Yeah, and we're getting some comments. Giacomo, Giacomo, I believe is what we're getting there on the correction there. I've been struggling with his name as well. And I already apologized to him at least twice. So him and Luis.
There you go. Barefoot Racing Cavalcade, butchering names for 100 years.
Exactly. If we're not good at anything else, it's definitely butchering names. So definitely apologize for that. We are looking here at trying out a new. We've tried this once before, so anybody who's watching, feel free to comment. This is a different style ticker. I don't anticipate using it during the race, but maybe during practice and qualifying, just to kind of clean it up and open up the view a little bit. So this is what you get with the amateur broadcast. We get to try stuff out live. So lucky you guys, but leave your feedback and what you like to see. I can't bring up I can bring up gap. Here we go. Best time. That might be a better data point for things like practice. See there, only 40 drivers. We do have 42 in the session. Only 40 have set a time in the practice so far. And Scott Dorkins pulling up in the 40th spot here. Our resident Aussie. Hopefully he can represent tonight. He unfortunately was. I don't know. Did he race at Nords? Because he definitely. I don't think he made it into Donington, just as a matter of the cap at 45, which was unfortunate. But it's good either way. It's good to see him back.
Yeah, I think he just missed.
All right. Well, sorry, I'm trying to also reply to some comments. So awesome. Keep them coming. This is actually, so this is a NASCAR inspired, although it's called NASCAR, even though NASCAR kind of uses the timing tower concept right now. So I don't know why they use that particular one. It was the old style, I suppose, but there you go. And yeah, the F1. So you'll see also the F1 style radio button. This is something new that we've just recently started and have been kind of playing with a little bit. the radio broadcast. It's not like you'd see in the F1. We can't just selectively listen to whatever, but you can see who's talking, and every once in a while we'll listen in and kind of see what the drivers are saying as they go. So that's something we've been playing with a little bit too.
Looks good, mate. It looks good.
Awesome. Well, it does look like we've started our 10-minute closed qualifying. We'll be doing closed today. So let's take a look in. Let's get rid of this NASCAR style banner. We'll bring up the regular race information. You won't see anything right now as drivers put down their best times. The timing tower will populate. We're looking right now at Chris Herrera from Team Running on Empty. I saw them in the house a little bit earlier. Welcome you guys once again. Always a pleasure to see you, and we hope good things for Chris this week as always. We'd like to also welcome newcomer R. Scott Bell. Is how his name is showing up. I thought it was just Scott Bell, but either way, Mr. Bell, welcome to the league. That pretty slick looking car there. Now, Ian, I gotta say, we used to do something back when the league was a little smaller, and I'm putting you on the spot here because we did not coordinate this prior, and I'll ask Max too. We used to pick somebody you think who would win, and then somebody who was kind of like, maybe middle pack that you thought could maybe have a shot at making a podium, and then the third was kind of a dark horse, maybe somebody you don't expect who would outperform their average finish so far for the season. So maybe not all of them, but kind of who do you got for a win? Maybe a more of a mid-pack in the standings driver who's got a real shot tonight, and then maybe just like a lottery ticket. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. My dad's just helping load something at the moment. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. So there was a question here from Jacob about the waiting list. Yes. Currently, it's we earlier in the Sunday Night Skippy kind of the history of the league. We're only in season 3, and we were quite small, and we had the good fortune then of being able to have people join whenever and wherever. We have gotten to the point into there, though, where you see that we're getting consistently 45 drivers on one grid, which, to the point earlier, is quite a split, one-person split. And that was, you, Jacob, mentioning that as well. So basically what we have here, so Scott Bell was able to make it in right before the cutoff. He had not been racing, but unfortunately we do have the list now, and that'll be updated hopefully regularly. And all you have to do really is join the Discord, which, let me bring up the race info again because I posted right there. You see join now. Come out, hang out at the Discord, and you can talk to the admins there and get on the waiting list. And oh, you have joined the Discord. There we go. You have joined the Discord. So as long as you do that, you'll be good to go. And as soon as people start being inactive or just moving on to different things, we're going to move people in as quickly as possible. We want to be able to keep the people who are interested in the league and want to race here in, and others that maybe are less active and maybe want to do other things, and that's fine. They can go do that. So we're a victim of our own success at the moment, but we're also trying to make it fair and equitable and keep that community together. So hopefully, if you've had a chance to come out and do the practice races with us, that's always fun. I always try to make that out too. I started out as a driver in the series just very briefly, and then got into this, and but I still when I can, enjoy going out to those practice races. They're just as, if not, you know, more fun, I think, that sometimes than the Sunday night races, but that's just my personal opinion, because there's a little less pressure, obviously, when it's just a practice race. So you can enjoy that. And yeah, and if anybody else is out there is listening, this applies to you. I know I'm kind of focusing this on Jacob because he's the one asking questions, but this obviously applies to anybody out there as well. So, that all being said, we are halfway through qualifying here. We do have Christian Perez currently sitting on pole with a 1:47.472. Mike Bowers in second and Justin Rubello in third. Jason Weiss in that fourth position with Pete Mobrotin in the fifth. And we got some fast drivers right behind them, Carl, Lindell, and Scott. And already we're having some people mixing it up there. At the top, Edwin takes over as he crosses the start-finish line going down into the first turn. And you can see as people set down their best times, we're going to have a little bit of shuffling through the field. Christian Perez takes back over that top spot, and Christian and Edwin, for any new viewers, they are on a team across racing and have been fairly dominant so far. It looks like they're going to be starting 1 and 2 side by side together at the moment. Of course, we still Justin Rubello, Chris Herrera, Pete Mobron, Jason Weiss, JR Hoops, Aaron Law, Jonathan Dance. I mean, the list goes on. We got a lot of fast drivers. I see Bill Groombridge, who has not been with us for a few races. Very fast, hot lap capability there from him as well. So James Hauser's currently sitting in the 14th, typically one of our top drivers in addition. So it'll be interesting to see how this all ends up shaking out. And sorry, I was getting a little feedback from the Discord. I had to bring you guys off of it there for a second, but Ian and Max, you still got a copy on me?
Yep, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
I can hear you now, yep.
Yeah, I was saying that are we going to get down into the 146s? And of course, both Christian Perez and Edwin both push it down into the 146s. Look at that. And now JR Hoops is in there as well. Oh, no, sorry, Rubello. Now, I've got a complaint to make about Mr. Rubello. He never got me any of that elderberry wine.
Really?
I mean, really, I just don't understand it. I have to drink this.
I don't, yeah. Honestly, I don't even believe you.
Hey, Max, can you hear us okay? I'm not sure what happened to Max.
Well,
he's there typing something to me right now, so hopefully we'll get him going again in a minute.
Well, for everybody who's watching, apologies. Obviously, having a little technical difficulties this evening to start, but at any rate, nice to talk to some of the folks out there actually watching and making it interactive. I think that's a lot of the fun of it. I like to think this is we're just sitting here watching together on the couch, and we just have the microphone, so we get to talk about it more.
And you have to listen to us because we have the microphone.
And that's what it is.
Okay.
All right. Well, we're coming up on the end of the closed qualifying session here. For those who may not know, with a closed qualifying, yes, they are all running out there at the same time. However, they cannot see each other on the course. So that's why you might see some people in roughly the same spot on the course, but no other drivers as we're focusing on these individuals. So looks like a lot of people are pretty happy with what they got. Hop and Herrera make last second jumps up the qualifying board, as does Jack Moffitt. Mike Bowers and Darwin Romero.
Well, we've just hit 10 minutes, so I think qualifying has come to an end.
Qualifying has come to an end indeed. Let's take a look at the qualifying results if we can.
Yeah, I wonder what happened there.
This really doesn't like me. Well, maybe that'll work. There we go. Congratulations to Christian Perez with the pole of 146.543, which, as Jacob was noting, is insanely fast. Awesome job. His teammate Edwin will be second, followed by Carl, Chris, and Justin for the top 5. We'll scroll through really quick for the rest of the grid.
And yep, here they are. They've all gridded up, and it's a pretty day down in Australia. The sun is shining, the weather is sweet, as they say. They've got a track temperature of where is it at here? 75 degrees, so it's a bit warm. 65-degree air temperature. Winds are out of the northwest at 15 miles an hour, so that will have a little bit of an effect on the cars. Not massively, but we'll see how that goes.
Pop up the weather there really quick. Looks like we got about 20 seconds left at most. So here's your nice overhead view of the drivers as they grid and prepare to go down into 1. All right, ladies and gentlemen, who is ready to do some Sunday night Skippy racing? Phillip Island Circuit, 40-minute race, and we're off.
Away we go.
And we've got a lot of wheel-to-wheel action back further in the pack, but the top 5-6 cars or so are gonna basically fall in line. We focus on here on Max. Makes it off. Oh, a little bit of a rejoin. He gets into the 6 just ever so slightly of Nikolai Wood. A little further back. I'm sorry, that was Sean Trediak. And it does look like, for the most part, we're gonna sort it out. Not too bad. I don't see any.
Oh my gosh, what a stream of cars it is.
You can see there, I don't even know that my computer's processing all of it, but we actually have 41 drivers there. It does not look like Scott Dorkins was able to make the grid there, unfortunately. And not a lot separates the field. Let's go from gap to interval there on the timing tower. You can see just how far each car is separated from each other individually. Focus here on Aaron Law, who's moved himself up 4 spots so far.
Carl Dronke in 4th is chasing down Edwin Ballerino. He's about a half a second back from him.
You can see how important the draft is going to be on this track. Plenty of opportunity to work together. Right now, Edwin and Christian are teammates. Carl Dronke is out there on his own. Chris Herrera are team running on empty, and then a couple other free agents all behind them, so they're going to have to figure it out. Oh, and the 38 of Carl Dronke gets loose, a little bit of oversteer. He's going to save it, though. No damage, no contact.
Pulling off the track as well, we've got Darwin Romero, Robert Longano. And what happened to Edwin? Did he lose some? What happened to Edwin? No, he looks good.
It looks like Robert Longatano, a little bit loose. Yeah, he definitely went for a ride there. That was also the 77 of Jake Ashe on that same incident. Looks like nothing further, however, so they're going to make it. That's a good thing about this track. It's unlike some of the other ones where, you know, in the road circuits where you got concrete or cement to run into. Plenty of open space to run around here.
And what happened to Carl? Is he now running in 13th? He's dropped back a long way. Oh, there's a huge crash! There's a huge crash!
Holy cow. We just missed that. It does look like Rob Hopp is involved.
That was in T10. That little tight downhill right-hand hairpin corner. And Carl's going right across the track, trying to get into the pit lane, and got picked up by Jeff Torback. Oh my gosh. Let's have a quick look at who's in the pits.
It looks like Walter Collada's in there now. All right, we're going to have to rewind here, folks, and try to figure out what in the world happened.
We've got Carl Drunke in the pits. Bill Grunberg. Walter Collada. Chris Herrera's fallen back to 4th. Pete Mabroton's in 5th, chasing him down.
Well, I think I found the root cause there. But I don't know who. I cannot tell exactly who it was, but yeah, there was a massive pileup. And it just never got sorted after that. Holy cow, and Thomas Photos goes for a ride. Wow. See if we can't try to pick up any of those other cars that were involved. I'm having a tough time sorting this one out, folks. I'll try one more time and then we'll call it a. Well, there's the 192 we know was involved. Let's do this manually here because this is interesting.
What a mess that was. And of course, now what it's done is it's put a lot of the faster drivers completely out of position.
Well, we'll try to come back here to see. I saw Walter Collada was also collected in all of this. Okay. Yeah, so that I think was a lot of it, and then to your point, I think just later on, Carl and Jeff. Let's ride along here with Jeff. I thought it was right after that where he and Carl. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Carl turned left. Well, I don't want to Zapruder this too much here. We've got other things to watch, but yeah, I think Carl's just trying to make it over.
Edwin Valentino.
Ballerino.
My mouth, my tongue is fighting. Edwin Ballerino are just like walking away from it right now. Christian just put down a 146.8.
All right. Well, we spent a good 5 minutes watching that. Let's come back to the live racing here. We got, like you said there, Ian. We've got the leaders. They seem to be. They have opened up now a 1.7 second gap over. Chris Herrera, who just passed Darwin.
And then, of course, following behind them is Mike Bowers, Pete Broughton, and Justin, I'm not giving you any bottles of wine, Rebella. having their own little race.
Is that the new nickname now?
You know, I'll have to get some fun facts about Justin again.
The new long nickname.
James Houser's got himself up into 8th position and he's trying to catch into that whole pack. He's running at 3.2 seconds behind Justin.
We got some pretty close racing back here. We got Peter Nodwell, Jonathan Dockery, and Nikolai Wood. This is for the 16th position, I believe. Oh, and we're going to have a slight internet issue there. And we're back.
So Christian's led 3 laps and he's only allowed Edwin to lead 1 lap.
Probably fair. Go back to Gap on the timing tower and take a look. Jeffrey Decker. I'm sorry, what was that?
Do you have any ideas on what you think they're going to do for their fuel strategies?
Well, I think Edwin and Christian basically can dictate it at this point. They're out there, they've got a nice comfy lead, and it does not appear that Chris and Darwin are gaining on them. They lost not a ton of time, but they are losing a little bit of time as they go. So I honestly be shocked to see if they maybe split it up a little bit and I've seen in the past where they send Edwin in first and let Christian run a lap or two, and they meet back up on the opposite end.
And Jason has just passed James Houser for 9th, and Houser's now got the last of the top 10. He's sitting there in 10th, 0.2 of a second, 0.3 of a second behind Jason. So our top 10 now is Christian Perez, Edwin Valerino, Darwin Romero, Chris Herrera, Pete Broughton, Justin No Wine For You, You Bugger, Rebello, Mike Bowers, Jonathan Dance, Jason Weiss, and James Houser.
So we do have a Justin Rebello fan, unlike you, in the house tonight. So let's check in with the 79, currently running in 6th position. He's got the 515 of Pete Broughton of Full Fuel Strategy right ahead of him. Mike Bowers on his gearbox.
Well, you know, with Christian and Edwin, they're towing each other around, so they're probably saving a ton of fuel. I mean, the gap between them is 0.064 of a second. So they are absolutely fuel saving, and Edwin is probably being just dragged behind Christian. If you look at their relative speeds, Christian is always a little bit slower than Edwin, and Edwin's just gone in front. Okay, and so now they're switching it over, and now Edwin's going to tow Christian. But they're putting down a 146.3, 146.4, which is some of the fastest laps we're seeing right now on the track.
They have that, I guess, capability now, that luxury to pass the lead off back and forth, help each other save some fuel, use that draft efficiently. They've now got a 2.3 second lead, so about half a second since the last time we mentioned their gap to Chris and Darwin, and who do not seem to be working together too much. So we'll see how that works out, but that's the situation there.
Yeah, I think that what they need to do is they need to start just work together, save fuel, because the only way you're going to beat Christian and Edwin now is to beat them on your pit strategy. And so they really need to sort of say, hey, look, let's work together, we'll save fuel and see if we can stretch it out a little bit longer than they can and be a little later into the pits. Or maybe even do the opposite, do an over-under, see if you can go into the pits earlier and undercut them by having an earlier stop.
So we did have a question here real quick. The 40-minute timer that you see on top of the timing tower is indeed, it's a timed race. So yes, 40 minutes basically plus 1 lap. So once the timer hits 40, the next time they cross the finish line is the end of the race, basically. And another thing to note for any of you guys out there or gals who are racing Phillip Island, there is a rule in this league to use the longer pit exit. So folks who actually race here at Phillip Island know what we're talking about, but you cannot use the shorter pit exit. It is only the longer one, so that's why you'll see them as they go in and out of the pits use that. And we do have some more good racing here throughout the field. Steve Dewar and Joe Zubovich as Oliver Hartley looks on. Some fine wheel-to-wheel action going down the hill. So it looks like Joe's going to back off just a touch. I'll leave Steve Dewar to tow Oliver just a little bit longer.
And JR Hoops is fighting with Mr. R. Scott Bell. Just a half a second splitting the two of them as they come down through Siberia and head up towards turn 7 and 8 before they climb up the little hill, Lucky Heights, and then down into the T10 little hairpin, little right-hander of a hairpin.
Check in here with Joshua Dancy of Team Storm as he passes Carter Stickney.
Hey, Dad. I'm talking to you. Hi.
Oh.
Wait.
And checking back up here with Mike Bowers, Pete Mobrotten, and Justin Ribello doing their best to work their way up to Darwin Romero and Chris Herrera. They got about 2.5 seconds to go before that happens. And if you've noticed, Chris and Edwin have nearly 4 seconds on that second duo. So continuing to pull away from the field and kind of make it their race.
But it's nice to see we've still got, you know, from JR Hoops forward, we've still got a reasonably close pack. JR and R. Scott Bell are racing. Then if you jump up to Lindell, he's sort of working to catch up with the back of Jack Muffet, who is just behind Jeffrey Decker, as they're racing for 11th. Jeffrey's in 11th right now, Jack Moffat's in 12th. And then just ahead of them is Jason Bice, James Hauser, and Jonathan Dance, with just a couple half parts of a second separating them as they're battling for 8th, 9th, and 10th. And as I speak, James has just overtaken Jonathan Dance for 9th place and is now chasing down Jason Bice.
Look back from the gearbox of Jason Bice.
Passing him on the straight as we come down into Doohan Corner. And, oh, nicely done, sir. Around Doohan into the southern loop. And that puts James Hauser up into 8th place, with Justin Ribello just ahead of him in 7th.
And we've got some good racing back here. If we can focus in real quick on Luis, he's got Steve Dewar right behind him, and not too far ahead is Samuel Bridges and Sean Trediak. Does look like the 976 of Samuel Bridges is going to get a little bit wide there on the turn. Just going to open the door for the 192. And Steve Dewar is going to watch on. Let's ride on board with Steve. He watches the battle ahead of him.
As it comes down into Honda Corner, and then goes through turn 5, turn 6, which is Siberia. One of my favorite corners on the track is that one. I really like it.
I would not have guessed that.
Yeah, no, if you get that right, you get a lovely push as you come out of Siberia. Sounds really weird, doesn't it? You get a lovely push as you come out of Siberia because it's pretty cold there. And you go up to turn 7, turn 8, up into Lucky Heights. And I love this one. You just get that right, and the car just slides across the top of the hill and goes light as you drop down into turn 10, that little hard right-hander, and then stick it out into 11, and you start accelerating, and you basically just flat out going back up through the gears, second, third, fourth, fifth, as you come around turn 12 and onto Gardner Straight, back down into Doha, across the start finish line, and back down into Doohan Corner.
This is a very nice track.
Got a good flow to it, for sure.
It really does. It really does.
And it's not like big either. It's not too long. It's like, I don't know what to say, kind of. I guess.
Oh yeah, no, it's a good length. You know, it's the obvious example would be Nords where we were last week. Is just well, I mean that's just a ridiculous example, but you know, it's the laps are reasonable, and you know, you're not getting bored on long straightaways or anything like that. It's you always got to think about what's coming up next. So
you know that this circuit was first raced in 1928 of all times, and it was the first Australian Grand Prix. And it actually just used a rectangle, a high-speed rectangle of locally closed off public roads with 4 similar right-hand corners. And maybe it was sort of a squared off version of an oval track, if you will. And the new track, which is a 3.312 mile circuit, was built. There's a new one built in 1935. For some reason, they dropped one of the corners and made a triangular track because why not, I suppose. And the Grand Prix circuit was started in 1956, and between 1956 and 1962, where they sort of built a new circuit using some of the original corner names from the old circuit, because again, I guess they couldn't make up new ones. Who knows? But then from 1988 until now, they resurfaced this circuit. It's 4.4 kilometers long. Yeah, it's been used for all sorts of different races.
We just checked in there with Luis Faboni there, who just got a little bit of oversteer, and Steve Dewar was able to just barely make it through. Some good heads-up driving there by Steve.
Yeah, he's dropped him back a bit though. He's got Andrew Cole chasing him. Andrew's about 2 seconds behind him, and Sammy is about 2 seconds ahead of him. So he's got a bit of work to do to get up, catch him up.
Well, we have approached the halfway point and actually exceeded the oh, somebody else is off the track there. Let's see, that was the halfway point of the race. So we'll start to see how pit strategy comes into play. And you know what? We'll bring that up actually a little bit later on the timing tower. Let's bring up the pit lap right now. See how that works. All right, coming back up here, it does look like Christian Perez is going to come in, so a little bit of reverse of what I said, but Chris Herrera follows him.
And Edwin's staying out, so Edwin's going to stay out, pushing Darwin into second place, about 3.5, nearly 4 seconds behind him. Wow, he's where has he gone to? Yeah, he's got a nearly 4 second gap there. Yes, he's
also in is Jeffrey Decker and James Hauser.
So Christian Perez is back out in 12th position now after his pit stop, with Sean Trediak in 13th behind him and JR Hoops in 11th ahead of him. So it's good. I guess Edwin's going to come in next, and then we'll see where Edwin comes out. There we go.
I wonder how the top 5 or 10 positions from like fuel strategies is gonna end out. Like Mike Viewers could end up in first. You never know. Like
Bowers.
Mike Bowers could end up in first, and like I don't know, Edwin Ballerino could end in ninth.
And Edwin ran a bit wide there, and he's coming into the pits now. And ran a bit wide.
There goes it. We actually saw it a few weeks ago. I believe it was Donington, right, where Christian got a speeding penalty going into pit road.
Yeah.
So
really
it really can. You know, there's nothing. That's one thing about this league with the forced pit stop due to the limits on the fuel that you can carry in the car. I think that just gives it a little bit of extra flavor. And yeah, we'll see what happens here. But Jack Moffat's the whole field basically coming in now. So let's focus in on Christian Perez, and you can see where he will be coming out. He's
Edwin's on his way out
going
now.
past pit road right now.
Edwin's heading back
There's
out.
the start.
And he's just passed by his teammate Christian Perez. So Edwin's going to come out. Looks like he's going to come out in second. Yep, he definitely is going to come out back in second place. There's a very well-timed set of pit stops between Edwin and Christian. And we've got Darwin Romero in third, Chris Herrera in fourth, Sammy Bridges in fifth. Steve Dewar's moved up into sixth, but he hasn't done his pit stop yet. Pete Mabrotten, Justin Rebello, Mark Bowers, Jason Bice round out your top 10.
Well, this is definitely Christian's race to lose. 2.87 seconds is the lead, with just 15 more minutes remaining, just over 15 more minutes remaining. So to your point, Bridges, Dewar, Ashe, looks like they're the only ones. Oh, I'm sorry. Walter Collada, I think he already pit, but early on, I believe that was incident induced.
So Sammy Bridges is in what's he running in fifth, which is a good position for Sammy, especially as his name actually means clammy or sodden, of all things.
Well, we are by the ocean.
This is true.
So maybe he's just feeding off of that.
Well, you know that if you Sammy something, you could. It means you moisten leather generally before staking. So, not quite sure. Not quite sure how that works, but you know, Sammy, use it to your benefit, mate.
Maybe he's driving in a leather racing suit.
There you go.
Well, you can see on the timing tower now, I brought up the total pit lane time, which is the amount of time that they went from pit entry to pit exit, and this is a very telling story. You can see how Darwin made up some time there, 40.8 seconds. It is by a large margin for pit stop purposes, the quickest out of any of the leaders, so I'm curious to know if he grabbed enough fuel. I guess time will tell. On the other end of that, it does look like Team Running on Empty's Chris Herrera was not going to take the advice of just going for it in YOLO. 46 seconds there. I'm guessing he got more than enough fuel to finish the race. So we'll see how that works out. But you can see quite a range of numbers there. James Hauser with 52 seconds. Kind of surprising to see.
The other thing that's kind of cool is most of our racers are all on the same lap, which I'm really pleased to see.
Yes, and this is a fantastic point. The we've seen a couple early incidents, and they were big ones to be sure, but it does seem like once things got settled down, the pace is there for just about everybody, and we are seeing some folks doing really well based on their average finishes for the season. And right now we're focused here on Sean Trediak and Scott Bell doing battle for that 16th spot. Justin Rebello is in the pits. I don't know that he pit yet. Had we covered that?
Did he stop? Is he just stopping for gas now?
That is surprising. I thought he was way up there. I may have missed something with Mr. Rebello there. Well, either way, here's we'll come back to that. Jeffrey Decker in a close race there with Lyndall McMurphy for that P10. Always a good stat to have, that top 10 finish, and kind of bouncing between a half second and right on his gearbox. So they seem to be taking somewhat different lines through the course, and it's showing there as Lyndall makes a peak, and you can see ahead of them Jack Moffitt, Walter Collada back in the pits as well. He may have had just a slight amount more because of that early incident, although that wouldn't have counted for his mandatory pit stop, and he wouldn't have made it to the end anyway based on how early the incident was, so that's probably what we're seeing there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jeffrey Decker and Lyndall McMurphy are like, kind of like nose to tail. 400th of a second apart, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, this is really great battle here. Let's look back from Jack Moffitt's number 7 machine.
And that's the battle for 9th, 10th, and 11th right there. Absolutely, you want to be in the top 10. So we're going to see a nice, if you're watching with Jeffrey Decker, you can sit there behind, oh, and he's up beside him too, and past him. He's passing Jack Moffitt, he's passed Jack Moffitt, and now as they go into turn 1, slide across the track.
Yeah, I think we're seeing so far multiple examples of why it might be better to be in the trail car coming around the final turns, because we've seen the power of the draft, and if you can time it right, you're gonna have the momentum
Yes,
to make that
right.
final pass.
And it's a fairly long run from as you come out of turn 12. Well, in fact, as you come out of turn 11, you can start getting ready to draft. And as you come around turn 12, past the person, because you could be in their draft well there, and be able to take them on the garden straight from the start finish line, which is about halfway down that long straightaway.
Checking in with Aaron Law in the 901 as he's side by side with Scott Bell, and they're looking forward at Justin Rubello and Sean Trediak, who were also there for a moment side by side. So this is now for the overall 15th position. They've got another 5 seconds up to Nikolai Wood for the 14th. But overall, some great racing going on back here in the mid pack. And real quick, a little further up, Mike Bowers and Pete Mobronton. A dynamic duo here, not teammates, but hopefully working together. Pete Mobronton sporting the Snail Racing 515 car. We are big supporters of Snail Racing. If you haven't checked out their YouTube, I highly recommend it. Nikolai Wood in the pits again. I'm not sure why. We'll have to check on that a little bit later. And this is actually interesting. As we were watching the battle through the field and approach 8 minutes remaining, Edwin and Darwin have caught Christian. And you can see there, just barely in the background, about 4 seconds back, Chris Herrera trying his darndest to make it up to this podium. But he has no help. He's got Mike Bowers nearly 2 seconds behind him there with Pete. Those guys we were just checking in with.
Yeah, Christian is running about 4.1, 4.2 seconds behind Darwin. And with Darwin up in there in the draft of Edwin, he's going to get sucked along really nicely. I mean, coming down the straight, Darwin is getting up to about 191, 194, 197, 200 miles an hour. Whereas Chris is getting up there though. He's 200 miles an hour. 200 kilometers an hour. I'm sorry, miles an hour, not in Skippy.
Well, let's look real quick here at the lap times. It does appear that Darwin is, for at least the last 4 laps, been just ever so slightly faster. Lap 18, actually, the last one, yeah, 0.6. So, not great news for Chris. Hopefully, he can get around Pete and Mike, although they are still 2 seconds back. I just don't know that Chris, just physics-wise, is going to be able to make that happen on his own, competing with that draft of the top 3 of Christian, Edwin, and Darwin at the moment. Real quick, we got a pass here. Looks like Lyndall McMurphy has made it past Jeffrey Decker as Jack Moffitt looks on, and once again, this is for that 9th, 10th, and 11th position. And that is a good point. Frank brings up a good point. Chris, we know, has enough fuel. Do the other drivers? That remains the question.
Jason Bryce and Jeffrey Decker had the fastest pit stops at 14.8 seconds. The pit stop for Darwin was a 15.1, and Christian was a 15.5, and Edwin was a 15.9. But Edwin and Christian, they've been fuel saving the entire race, so I think they'll be fine. And I think now that Darwin's catching up behind them, he's going to be able to lift off the throttle and stay with them, and he'll be able to fuel save now as well if he needs to.
And we've got quite the train going on here. This is Aaron Law in the 14th position, and you can see right behind him Justin Rubello, Scott Bell, Sean Trediak, Steve Dewar, and Carl Dronke, who was involved in that earlier incident. Carl working his way back up to that 19th position, and he's looking on at this entire train of cars. So that's really cool to see. This is mid-pack racing right here, and I got to imagine this is going to be an exciting finish for these guys as we approach. We're inside of 5 minutes now, so only a few more laps, and they got quite a ways to go. So this is the race for these guys. This is the race. This is going to be who can get to that P14. Carl makes a nice pass outside of both Steve and Sean and working his way up. It looks like Scott Bell may have, I don't know if he made contact or just got a little loose there, but he's going to be falling back. And they're going to go 3 wide. Aaron Law trying to hold on, but Justin Rubello looks like he's gonna take away P14. Here we've got it's like Max and Luis battling for the 21st position, and keep me honest there in the leaders there, fellas. I'm gonna try to work our way one last time through the field and see. We've got some great racing going on. I don't want to miss this stuff. Oh, who is that off the track there? That, I believe, is Jake Ashe. Unfortunately, trying to hold on to this pack of
and Jack Moffat,
Antoine Takashi, Daniel Pagasi,
Jonathan Dance, and Lyndall McMurphy are coming down 3 wide, and then they got sensible and they've taken it easy going into T1 and T2. But they're 2 wide going in T2, and Jack Moffat's losing it, and he runs off the track a little bit. Oh, he's lost it on T2, and he's lost this draft of that pack. Oh, Jack. So it's now James Hauser, Jeffrey Decker, and Lyndall McMurphy going for it. And this is going to be your last lap, where the clock ticks down to 39:24. Christian Perez is, where is he? Trying to figure out what corner he's on.
I'm showing 37.
Okay.
We shall see.
He's coming down into turn 10. Mine's saying 39:49, but it's the internet, folks. So Who
this
really
is
knows?
this is a high quality operation we have here, and we are not ashamed to admit it. Well, we will see here.
Synchronized timing devices, right? So I've got 40:07,
Exactly.
so he's passing the line. I didn't see a flag go, so nope, the flag man is
No.
not flagging anything, so we've got another lap
This
to
will
go.
be it.
This will
With
be
our
the last
powers
lap,
combined, I think yeah, we can well, actually 38 minutes. What have they been doing? 146. Oof. I don't know. This may be the second to last lap. They may beat this with the lap times they've been running, so
this is the time
we'll check back in with
just
them.
send it now, though.
That's right.
Just send it.
Just crash.
Darwin is still there with that front pack of Christian and Edwin, so he could be a spoiler, and he's so close. I mean, he is feeling the warmth of the gearbox of Edwin Valerino right in front of him.
He's just basking in it right now.
Oh, it's it's keeping his car on the track there. So if he can keep it going, it's going to be a really close finish. And maybe he's been listening to you, Chris. He's going to take a page what you were saying and try and take it there on the last corner.
Hey, you know what? I will take the credit for that if that ends up happening. For sure, I have no issues with taking the credit for that.
Turn 10, the little right-hander hairpin. He's not quite close enough, and he's not running exactly on their line. So it's going to be interesting to see here. He's Is this the last corner? Are we going for a white flag, or is it going to be a red?
I'm showing 15 seconds still, so this may be classic Christian style where he crosses the line with seconds remaining.
He's still standing with his arm down, so here we go again.
Here we go. One more lap. We will focus on the leaders.
I thought he was going to make a move there. Yeah, it's just flashed up and said last lap to me. So this is it, boys and girls. This is for all of the marbles. Oh, Flagman's gone on holiday.
Yeah.
And they're coming up on some back markers. It looks like Oliver Hartley and who's Oliver with? Sammy Bridges, maybe. Oliver runs wide to let them through. Sammy's trying to keep his line as they dive into the Honda corner, going around there. T5. They passed Stoner Corner, which I wasn't able to talk about, which I would love to talk about. Through Siberia.
Siberia's cool.
Yeah. T7, T8 up the hill to Lucky Heights. Oh, come on! I want to see something. Come on, Darwin, get your nose in there, mate.
Oh,
he's just a little bit too far behind.
Come on,
he just needs another, half a yard.
Well, here we go. That's the last slow turn right there.
Yep, here we go. Now it's flat out. All the marbles, boys and girls. And I see Edwin's making a move around the outside of Christian, and Darwin's taking him. He's on the outside. Come on, boys. They are so close. And they're three wide. They're three wide coming down to the finish. It's going to be a photo finish, folks. Oh, it looks like it was Christian, Edwin. Okay, my system's gone berserk. It tells me Mike Bowers, but Mike wasn't anywhere there. What a finish. What a finish.
Oh, no, what happened to Chris? Did Chris run out of fuel again? I don't know. Well, we got to check back in. Let's check back in here real quick. I'm sorry, we've got another... Actually, let's go back here. I'm trying to find... Yeah, I think my system's going berserk here, too. This is Justin Rebello, Aaron Law, Carl Dronke, Steve Dewar. Let's check in with these guys as they come down. Final stretch. All right. Well, unfortunately, I could not find, I thought that maybe we had the finish line camera. Oh, I think that was Sean Trediak with a fantastic finish. So yeah, we did not have the finish line camera, and I apologize for that. I'm pretty sure Jake had sent that before. I do not know what happened to it, but either way, we'll check as everybody crosses the finish line here. We will try to make our way back through. We had some great racing there at the end, and due to my inability to focus on it all, we may have missed some great finishes. But either way, really close racing, really fun to watch, and you can see just all of that time, those 40 minutes, and all it came down to sometimes just that last turn. So really fun.
Oh, that was a great finish. And I'll tell you something, the difference between the top three was in the hundredths of a second. Yeah. In fact, I will tell. What is it?
That is awesome.
Isn't that good? That's just. Wish you could see what I can see. And where's the finish line? So we're coming up here. Any second now, but who is it? Edwin Valerino. His front tires were up to Christian's side pods.
Yeah.
It was that close.
Well, I'll see what I can do as we go through the interviews and try to give us some better angles on it. But real quick, let's run through the results. Congratulations to Christian Perez. Ran a fantastic race, dominating race. He is our winner tonight. Edwin Valerino, his teammate. So basically what we have, I don't know why we're calling them a cross racing. We should just call them Mercedes at this point. I'll lobby for a name change. But congratulations to Edwin. Viva Edwin. And then Darwin Romero taking home the final podium spot for the evening. Congratulations to all the drivers. Pete Mobron, Mike Bowers, Jason Weiss, Jonathan Dance, Chris Herrera, James Hauser, and Jeffrey Decker will round out your top 10, and I will scroll through the rest for you all to see. Yeah, it was great racing. I'm gonna see if I can't get some better angles on that last few turns for the folks. And I have lost Ian, so I'm not sure what's happening there. I'm on my own, and I have no people wanting to do an interview. There seems to be a lot of post-race discussion going on. I think a lot of that may have to do with some of the incidents you may have seen, so we'll see what happens there. But in the meantime, again, great racing by all the drivers. Fast track, very difficult to stay out of trouble. And if you were lucky enough to do that, we've got 32 drivers finishing on the lead lap, which is pretty fantastic for such a large grid. So we will start off real quick with an interview with our race winner. Had to take the week off last week for the Green Hell, but it looks like that rest and relaxation paid off in spades because Christian Perez once again takes home the podium or the trophy for Phillip Island in a dominating fashion. And Christian, what are your thoughts on that race? I mean, I don't know what to tell you. You went out front and you stayed out there, and it was just really fun to see it dominate. Edwin and Darwin caught up just at the end there, but you were having none of it.
Hello, first of all.
Hello.
And I see that you are alone today.
What's that?
Well, the race was very, very good for us. Was perfect. We do 1, 2, and 3. In amazing Darwin today. He had a lot of pace, and then I don't know how finished Chris. Chris, I think that he ran out of fuel.
Yeah, I need to go back and look at the replay because he looked slow crossing the line.
8th, yeah. we were, and in the middle of the race, we were looking because Chris Herrera were very fast, and Edwin has a hardware problem with his clutch. So I just left a little for towing him and Darwin, because
Okay.
three of us, the three of us have to save a little bit of fuel. So we are just saving fuel and finish the race.
I gotcha. That makes sense. Yeah, I was wondering because you had
Yeah.
quite the lead going into the
Yeah.
after the pit stop. So there
Yeah.
was some great racing going on behind you, so we were focused on that. And then we looked up and we're like, wait, they caught Christian. What's going on here?
Yep.
Okay, that makes more sense.
They have to save free, and it's more easy make it on draft. So
Mhm. Well, it was well executed race strategy.
Yep.
I mean, it's at this point, I don't know if open wheel racing does this very often or if you're familiar. But something that I was thinking about today was have you heard of in racing, it's called a bounty?
No.
So basically, I would provide an incentive to a driver to beat you, let's say like $5 in iRacing credits or something like that, to any driver who can beat you in a race. Granted, they can't wreck you or you can't be wrecked out. There's rules, but we got to make it a little more interesting here.
Okay.
But we'll see what happens. But
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
it's still fun.
I will see what is that in the future.
So
and who wins.
Yes, yeah. Well, it's fun. It is fun to watch you race, and for everybody who is watching, you make it look easy, and we've said this before, but it's not. It takes great concentration, practice, repetition. You are hitting your marks where other drivers are not. You are getting on the gas at the exact right time, and it's a joy to watch you guys race. And not only that, but then you add the pit stop in there. You're not just hot lapping. You are able to do that with the pit stop and everything, which I think is really cool. And you guys pull off a great team strategy. So congratulations again. And we look forward to next week's Zolder, I believe, right?
Yep.
Am I not up? So yeah. So
nice
I'm
track.
Yeah, right, exactly. I was gonna ask, is that what are there any tracks coming up that you don't like? I guess would be the better question.
Not North Life.
Okay, right, yeah. I think it's good we got the drop weeks then. Yeah.
Yep.
That's funny.
That's perfect. The drop week, are perfect. Now Thorler, I don't know. It's my first time at that circuit, so I really don't know how the races will manage. I mean, draft, no draft, I don't really know. So well, it's a pretty cool track. Super fast on the first 2, 3, 4 corners are super fast. The chicane is super fast. The other chicane is very tricky. Well, it's a perfect track. It's super nice. So well.
Yeah,
we'll
little
see.
bit of everything for you.
Yeah. There
awesome.
is a lot.
Oh well, it might be a perfect race for some incentive, maybe for somebody to try to finally beat you. But yeah, I'd say I'll try to update the standings for next week on the broadcast so we can show those just to give people a sense of where everybody stand. But yeah, just once again, congratulations, and we look forward to seeing you race next week.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Adios.
Ciao. Adios.
All right. Well, that was Christian Perez, our race victor, and coming up next is team running on empties, Chris Herrera, and I'm curious to see what Chris thinks of how the race ended because we saw him slow over the finish line, and I hate to make assumptions, but I don't think it was because he just wanted to lay off the accelerator.
Chris, you dare make jokes about my running out of gas. You know what? I deserve it after giving Mike crap for the past 2 weeks. for being an honorary member of Running on Empty, and I decided, you know what, I really got to show these guys how it's done for real.
That's true. You are the OG running on empty, and I think you should be proud of that. I think there's nothing wrong with that. Well, that is what happened. You were in there for 46 seconds.
Yeah, so James and I were chatting throughout and after the race on our private channel, trying to figure out what was happening with the fuel strategy. And I haven't looked at the replay or anything, obviously, but I think Christian and Edwin and Darwin up front, they were in there for maybe 2:15 or so, whereas James and I were there 2:19 or 2:20 or whatnot. And I still ran out of gas. And the only thing I can think of is maybe I spent more time not behind a draft, and maybe Edwin and Christian and Darwin, or at least Edwin and Christian towards the beginning, were switching off during the straights. I don't really know, but
yeah,
they had a great race, and I had a great race up until that last lap. I saw Pete and Jason and Mike bearing down on me, and I was in no man's land. But luckily they were able to make the pass safely when I started running out of gas, and at least I held off James Hauser at the end. That's always a good accomplishment.
Yes, right. Yeah. If especially your teammate, you want to be ahead of him, but James is a very fast driver, so I think you're still in rarefied air in P8 there tonight. But I maybe thought because Christian crossed the line with just seconds remaining, so there was that almost, I want to say, extra lap, but I wasn't sure if people were counting on that or not. But to your point, you can go back and watch the replay and or the broadcast, but yeah, they were basically, Christian, Edwin, and Darwin were able to draft and take turns doing that, and we saw you very much out there on your own for quite a while. So with that perspective, none of this surprises me. So.
Yeah, I remember when there were 2 minutes left in the race, and I was thinking to myself, oh, great, I think they're going to cross the finish line just ahead of the 146, 147 mark, which means it's going to be a whole extra lap, and I didn't account for that. So maybe that's what happened. They were too fast for my math.
Well, any other thoughts about the race? I mean, I don't want to focus. It is funny. I don't want to focus too much on the end there, but it looked like there was some good racing otherwise. Any other big picture?
Yeah, absolutely. There was some great racing. Unfortunately, Carl Drunke had that spin towards the beginning, and that put me and Darwin in sort of our own little island. And a couple laps later, James pointed out to me, I think Darwin might technically be on Edwin and Christian's team, so he may not be working with you to catch up with them. But he raced very fast and very clean, and up until I pitted without him, I think we were having a good race. So overall, I'm pretty happy with the day, and I just need to laugh at running out of gas again.
Oh, I missed that. Sorry, guys. My Discord crashed, so I had to reboot the computer, but I'm glad to be back. Chris, it sounded like you had a lot of fun, and can I quote you on the James Hauser comment?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and actually, I don't know if you guys have noticed in the Discord channel throughout the week, a lot of people have been complaining about this track in the public races, because I don't know if it's coming off of the Nürburgring or if it's just this particular track, but very dangerous to race this in the public races. So we were looking forward to this Sunday with Sunday Night Skippy, because overall we have a lot more competitive and safe and respectful drivers here. So I think, at least for me, this race lived up to my expectations and my hopes.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Yep. Well, that's really good to hear. We did mention that earlier in the race, before the race started, that the public races were, I used the word shenanigans, but frustrating, I think, would probably be the more appropriate word. And it is good to see that most people. It'll be curious to look back. There was a little bit of silliness. I don't know that there's anything necessarily intentional that was going on. I think that's one of the big differences. But for the most part, once things got it just a little settled, it was much cleaner than you'd find in the public races as we watch.
Yes, absolutely agree.
Yeah, as we watch. Yeah, you did a great job, real heads up driving there, avoiding Carl on that initial spin. So.
Oh man, I gotta check the replay. I was convinced I was gonna lose my right rear and just go spinning out into the grass.
Yeah, no, it was you could tell that you had a choice to make. You made it, and it worked out, even though it ended up being a little off pace. And yeah, it is what it is. But there you go.
Yeah, it's interesting. You get better at crash avoidance
Chris.
when you've experienced more crashes that were your fault yourself, because then you can realize which way the car is going to go and how little control they have. So I knew he wasn't going to swap back to the right again. So, last minute decision, and luckily I was able to stay on the road.
Absolutely. Well, we got Zolder next week, and it'll be a chance for redemption. I'm looking forward to seeing how you do. And, was that?
Overall,
Yep.
how did you think about the race?
Overall, I'm pretty happy. I think it was a couple small annoyances that had nothing to do with the people, just iRacing itself. And I'm not sure where I am overall, but at this point, it's going to be week to week, and just hope to have a good day, because obviously that's why I'm here. And then if I can finish competitively, then that's a great bonus.
Cool.
And now I'm looking forward to watching the replay and listening to your amazing color commentary. Thank you again, all three of you, for doing this. I really appreciate it.
You want to talk about running out of gas? It's been a week. We've been, for the folks who don't know, who weren't in the Discord, there's actually quite a few drivers in the league who were without power for the majority of the week because of the tropical storm, and without air conditioning would be the natural conclusion of that in a very hot summer. So we're all little toast. So we appreciate everybody sticking with us, and and through.
Yeah.
You'll see it's a little more disjointed than normal, but we still had fun, and you guys put on a great show. So thanks very much, and we look forward to next Sunday for sure.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you all, and shout out to Running on Empty.
There you go. Take care.
All right, and I see Mike Bowers is in here. He had a great P5 finish himself, and I don't know, Mike, you're muted. Are you able to hear us? Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I can hear you. I was just chasing Chris down to tell him that I will take it for next week. I'll run out of fuel. It'll be my turn.
We'll just leapfrog here. Well, yeah, take turns. That's good.
Yeah. Like past the leaking jerry can, right? So.
Yeah, I felt bad because I saw us catching him, and I figured he was probably trying to save a little bit of fuel. And I had raced with Edwin earlier in the week, and I knew that they could run 145s. And I figured running 145s, they would get an extra lap. So I actually overfueled because I had a feeling we would go one more lap. So, So I want to say I'm smart, but really I just happened that I saw how fast Edwin was, and I knew Christian would be just as fast or faster. So that's led to a little math, and it worked.
Well, the question is always, is it smart or is it lucky, or is it a mixture of both, right?
Yeah, he's all of that. I mean, he's easily one of the best out there. So, yeah. I could see him at the finish line. I guess that's all I can say.
Yeah, well, it was a great race by you, and I got to imagine you're happy with that P5. I think you qualified 6th, is that right? So, stayed up at the front of the field the whole time, and obviously played your cards right. And yeah, just congratulations on a great run. By the way, I know you came in to talk to Chris, but thought we'd get that in there too.
Yeah, no, thanks. And Pete and Justin there until the pit stop, I think he got a speeding penalty, but we were working together pretty good because after the little spin and the separation, we were kind of had 3 groups there running, and we were just trying to work together to run them down, and we were slowly being able to inch back into the race, and it worked pretty good. And I wish Justin could have hung with us. I think we would have caught him a little bit sooner, but it worked out really good. And those guys are smart racers, so it worked really good. It was really fun, and I was a little bummed to get beat at the end, but oh well.
Yeah, we're watching the end here with you and Pete. It's actually, so Justin got a speeding penalty. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think something like that happened.
Okay, I was wondering why we couldn't explain why he had dropped back. That's good to know.
Yep, but thanks again for the broadcast. It's always fun to watch later in the week, and the league is good. It's in good shape.
Good,
awesome.
Good.
Well, good. Again, congratulations, great finish. Let's get on that podium in Zolder, and good luck.
Thanks. We'll see you guys.
See ya.
Good job, and take it easy, my friend.
You too. Bye.
Yeah, that was a closer finish than I remember. There, we're watching Mike Bowers cross the line just behind Pete Mabrotten. So good job all around there for those guys on that finish. As we see Jonathan Dance there crossing Chris Herrera. Yeah, so looking back on it, or actually, sorry, before we do that, let me get to Jenny's question there, Ian. She asked, "Are you a history major, or do you study each track beforehand?"
Well, if I'm not making it up, because do you know if I'm making it up or if I'm actually telling you what really happened?
Yeah, I think I don't know the difference at this point because you do it so fluidly that I just take what you say for the word, and even if it's wrong, you know what? That's in my brain now, and that's what I know. So
Yeah, no, I try to find out a little bit about each track that we're running, because I think it's just fun to be able to talk about them, because people made these things, and there's certain people love certain tracks and they have a real affinity for them, and some of the tracks have a huge amount of history behind them that we kind of lose. It's like why I love to race Spa. Although it's not the most exciting track, it's just got such a huge amount of history behind it. um, you know, and I love all all the European tracks, and I love all the tracks that have the different names for the different corners. Even the Green Hell. Yeah, Max is saying even the Green Hell. Because they have such history behind them. It just the evocativeness, especially riding in the Skippies, which is this sort of weirdly upright sitting open wheel thing with rubbish suspension, rubbish wheels, no wings that only create drag, a rubbish engine. They're hard to drive, hard to steer, hard to go fast in. They're not, go-karts are better than these things. But it sort of takes you back to the sort of the Jackie Stewarts, in those old cars that didn't even have seatbelts. Yeah, where the driver used to stop and fix the car halfway through the race and keep going. That's the kind of feeling I have with some of these tracks, and I love to be able to sort of say, hey, these are the corners and these are the names of the things, and ooh, what's going on the screen there? I'm looking at your YouTube replay. Ooh, big crash, big crash.
Yeah, this was the original. I think we finally found the original
good Lord
incident there. Yeah.
Who was in that car? I didn't see the number that went around first. It looks like 5 something.
Yeah, let me see if I can.
Can you rewind that just a wee bit?
A quick replay here.
I'm watching it on about a 5-second delay, so you might have done that already. But yeah, Jenny, I hope I've answered your question, and thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you're enjoying these little broadcasts that we do. And if there's stuff that you would like us to do that we're not doing, let us know. Of course, I can always come up with a few more fun facts about some of the drivers.
We always enjoy that. I know I enjoy that. I think they should become part of the lore, really, at the end of the day. But
that was 920. Oh no, that's a bit of netcode there. 924 got spun around, and that's what caused it all. Okay, so who are we on board with here? 404. It looks like 404 hit 924 or netcoded 924. That started the whole cascade of, sphincter puckering moments for everybody else behind them.
Fun for the whole family there. I think that was probably the biggest incident of the evening, and collected quite a few cars. But yeah, no, it kind of go back to what you were saying about the tracks and the history. They coming from the ovals in NASCAR, there is some of that as well. I just, they just haven't been around nearly as long. So that's something that I've always enjoyed myself. And it's just on a whole nother level now that we get to, that we race all these tracks that have been around since the 20s or earlier, really even. So, it's,
yeah,
it's really cool to see and to learn about. And even if there is a joke thing thrown in here and there, I think a lot of what you say is actually the history of the track. I try to follow along on the the Wikipedia and all that, and yeah, so it's pretty cool. I think that just adds a little bit of flavor to the race and makes the track come alive just a little bit more than you know, it's a left or a right or you know, a hairpin or whatever. So
absolutely.
yeah.
I mean, no, I love it. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy doing it. It's a little harder to remember what all the corners are when you're actually in the car on the track and trying to do the track talk. But that I like that challenge too. So.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's certainly fair.
And hopefully I'll be back in the car next weekend. Fingers crossed. Oculus has not sent me back my headset yet, and they said if you haven't got it on Monday, give us a call. So
All
I'm
right.
emailing them to say I have not got it, and it's Monday, and you've had it for 2 weeks. What's going on? So hopefully we're going to push on that, and I'll have something for next weekend, and I can actually get a chance to run at our next venue.
Well, I know that I would. I'm looking forward to that. I'm hoping that now that everything's kind of settled down a bit with the power and the weather, that I will get a chance to do some of the practice races with you guys and be a part of that, and then
Well,
get
yeah,
to call the action
have
on
you ever
Sunday.
run Zolder before?
No, I don't believe I think I may actually have to buy the track, and so Megan was unable to make it tonight. But darling, if you're watching, I have the discount, so hopefully that's not too bad. But we will. I think we'll be having to buy that track.
Well, it should be fun. It's an interesting looking track. I don't think I've ever raced it in Skippy. Yeah, it's got some long straights. So this looks like it could be a bit of a draft fest as well.
It's basically made out of straights.
Yeah, it's some long straights with some very, very. It's got one, two. My God, it's got one, two, three chicanes, and this is going to be an interesting circuit.
Well, Christian was talking about how it's got a little bit of everything for everybody, so I'm looking forward to a little. I mean, Phillip Island is fun because it is fast and you get the drafting, and that's a big part. But you know, sometimes the braking zones also add their own excitement to it, and a little more passing opportunities potentially than just long straightaways. So can't discount that.
Go fast, hit the brakes really hard. Go fast, hit the brakes really hard.
All right. Well, Max and Max, what do you got? Final thoughts for the race this evening?
I thought that I enjoyed the huge crash at the start, and I got quite a good laugh out of that because all of them smashed into each other, and I thought it was a very good race towards the start and the end. Throughout the middle, there wasn't that much going on, I guess. Well, I can't really say not that much action because they were all racing each other. But I guess
So the racing that you did see, you enjoyed.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I saw most of it, so yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah, there was some good wheel-to-wheel stuff going on there, and I'm well impressed. I really want to see a team put together that's going to take down our leaders, because we need, it's turning into the Mercedes and the rest of the pack.
Yep. Yeah, actually, Megan did briefly make the comment that they are the Mercedes of SNS, and I'm having a hard time disagreeing with that. So we'll see what we can do. Maybe I was talking earlier to Christian about when I think you may have gone there, but maybe putting a bounty out and incentivizing folks to try and beat. Not that you need any more, but maybe make it a little interesting in terms of iRacing credits or something like that. But we'll see what happens. The right now, though, there does not appear to be an answer to Across Racing's dominance, and I don't think a salary cap or limits on the team spending is gonna solve the problem in this case.
Well, what we might have to start thinking about is handicapping by adding weight to their car, which we can do. So maybe that's something we need to consider going forward on another series. That if you are that dominant, then each car gets an additional blah 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 of weight. 60 pounds, Max says. Yeah, I'm not quite sure that Skippy wouldn't be able to move. But yeah, maybe that's something that we need to think about. That the more you win, the more you carry.
Well, we won't put that evil on them just yet, but yeah, it is at the same time it is fun to see just how good the drivers can be. But yeah,
Absolutely.
There was some good racing throughout the field, regardless. I mean, we kind of knew that was going to be happening going into it, but we were not wanting for content for sure. So that was kind of my takeaway from it. It was a lot of fun to call. I do apologize once again for some of the technical difficulties, what have you. That was the reason for a lot of the long silences and absence of us talking. Although that may be a good thing.
Well, no,
sometimes it's fun to just watch the race.
No. We were considering what we should say next.
There you go.
To make sure that we gave the full value to the listeners.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Could argue that, but I'm not going to.
Well,
All right. Well, yeah, that's basically the race, folks. Ian, any last thoughts going into Zolder, or I guess about Phillip Island, or going into Zolder?
No, nothing really. I just hope that we can have some fun at Zolder. As I say, that's a track I've never raced on, so and it's not one that comes up very often, as far as I know. So old Belgian Grand Prix track used by the Formula One. I think Super League, Formula, DTM, Champ cars all run on it. Some of the FIA European Truck Racing Championship happens on Zolder, I believe. So that should be. Maybe we should change the Skippies for trucks and see what happens. Maybe that's a shenanigans one.
There we go. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if anybody, also I know there's a couple people watching who are looking to get in the league here shortly. Saturday night shenanigans is always a good time, and obviously that's on Saturday night, and I believe it's usually 8 p.m. Eastern, and we just have some fun. It's usually just a good way to have an hour to 2 hours of iRacing. Random tracks and car combos, and just have some fun and blow off some steam, and no iRating implications, no league standing implications, and it's just a good time. So highly recommend. And current league members, check that out if you haven't already. Yeah, cool. All right, well, I think that's all we've got here, and I think we've talked everybody's ear off for the time being. So we will call it an evening and look forward to Zolder on Sunday night. Same bat time, same bat channel. I hope that everybody has been taking care of themselves. Make sure you do that good self-care, and you're getting out there doing what you need to do to just make sure that these are all trying times, and I know people are going through some stuff, so make sure you're taking care of yourself and reaching out, getting help when you need to, and just know that we enjoy spending the Sunday evenings with all of you. So we will talk to you next Sunday, and until then, peace out.
And it's good night from me.
And it's good night from him.
And it's good night from me.
Buenas noches, mi amigos.